Hey everybody, welcome to episode number 27 of the Cameron's Nostalgia Podcast. I'm your host, Cameron Strickland, and today I have with me Gene Cordova.
Hello, everybody.
Now, for any of the guys who don't know, Gene was a ventriloquist for many ministry stuff and some of the ministry parties.
Yes, I am a ventriloquist. I still a ventriloquist. Have been doing it over 40 years. Traveled to every state in the United States, 26 countries around the world. Do a lot of church events and things like that. I also do a lot of fairs and festivals, a lot of schools, and a lot of libraries. Basically, anything with family and kids. And so we've been very, very blessed to be doing this full time as my full time job since 1998. And my wife and I, we get to travel a lot, see a lot of the country, see a lot of the world. So we really enjoy what we do. It's been a lot of fun, and we hope we get to keep doing it for many years to come.
Nice. Let's get right into it.
Let's get into it.
How did you get interested in ventriloquism?
Well, when I first started, it was way back in 1985. This was way before the internet or any kind of video or DVDs. Even VHS wasn't around yet. So I learned the art of ventriloquism through a company out of Littleton, Colorado. It was called Mayhew Studios, and I sent away for it back then. You would sent away for it in the mail, and when it came, it was 30 little booklets and three cassette tapes. And it went through, and there were 30 lessons you went through, and at the end, you were you'd learned everything you could, and then you had to go and record. Again, there was no video. This was all audio. You would record a program, send it in, and you would get a certificate of graduation. And that's what I did many years ago. And so I just worked on it all these years. Back then, I was working for the U.S. Postal Service. I had been doing that for 16 years. My children were young at the time, so I couldn't really travel and do shows. And so I just worked on my business until later in my career, I was able to quit the post office and go full time doing the ventriloquism, and it's been doing that ever since.
Nice. You have met Dave Privet.
Yes, I met Dave Probet through One Way Street. One Way Street is a puppet ministry that they trained and sold puppets and props and things like that out of Denver, Colorado. Dale and Liz Von Sagan were the owners, and I was got in touch with them and met them way back in the early '90s. Started doing. They used to call them, if I can remember correctly, they were called puppet ministry weekends or something like that, and they would go and teach puppetry in churches around the country. They invited me to join their staff, not at One Way Street, but just for these puppet workshop weekends, and I would go and travel and do stuff around the country with them. And I met Dave Prevet way back in the '90s, and he was working for them at the time. And so I've been with good friends with Dave for many years. He's a very talented puppeteer, a creator. He's the one that actually got really involved in using servos and doing all kinds of the mechanics when he built a lot of their puppets and a lot of the eye winkers and things like that. Liz's main puppet, Taffy, the duck that can close and open its eyes, Dave built that puppet. And he actually taught me a lot of my puppet building technique back in the day. So, yeah, he's a good friend. He actually lives not too far from me right now. He lives in Nashville these days. and Nashville, Tennessee. I live in Knoxville, Tennessee. So even though we don't see each other very often, good friend, and he's been a great mentor to me as well.
You have met Milo.
Yes, his puppet.
Yes.
Yes, yeah, Milo, and again, just a great puppet character that he created.
So, your first ventriloquism gig.
The very first thing I did many years ago was in a church. I did probably the first few things I did were mainly geared towards churches. And then as things grew, I started to do schools and things like that. Back then, I lived in Seattle, and for whatever reason, especially during the holidays back then, one of the big things was to do shows in malls. I used to book a lot of mall shows, which was good and bad. The bad part of it is malls were very difficult to do shows in because people didn't come to the mall to see shows; they came to shop. So when I was set up in the mall doing shows, people were walking by, and I had to be quick and fast and funny in order to keep their attention. So I really learned very quickly to write my material to be very engaging, fast, funny, and I had to cut a lot of the fat. So it had to be very funny very quickly in order to keep their attention. So I did a lot of mall work back then. And then, of course, a lot of churches, kept doing churches. And then I started doing fairs and festivals and things like that. When I moved to the South, we've been here in outside of Knoxville, Tennessee now. This month, actually, last month was 20 years. Then I was able to get involved with a lot of other events and things like that. We moved here mainly to be more centrally located to the greater population of the country and with for travel and opportunity. Like I mentioned, we lived in the Seattle, Washington area, which is way up in the Northwest. So I had to fly a lot and just moved here for greater availability to be able to do shows and be closer to people. And so when we did that, it expanded a lot of opportunities like libraries and things like that. I generally do anywhere from 60 to 80 library shows during the summer. And it just depends on the year. And so that's always a lot of fun.
Nice. You have some puppets I want to show you.
Yeah, I don't have them with me right now. Probably the puppet character that I have and have had the longest. He's an orangutan monkey. The original was actually built by a woman, and I'm going to forget her name, but I'll think of it. And she actually lived in Florida many years ago. I actually met her, and she was just this amazing puppet builder. And anyway, I was able to buy my first puppet from her, one of the first ones, and I had him for many years. And she actually built the very first peanut for Jeff Dunham. She actually built his very first peanut as well. And then many years later, my wife actually surprised me. We actually, Marianne Taylor is another puppet builder. She lives in Virginia, Roanoke, Virginia. So it's about a 4 hour drive from us. And my wife surprised me one year for Christmas, and she had Marianne Taylor remake or actually build a brand new one for me, a duplicate. And so I was able to get a duplicate. And Marianne Taylor's the one that builds all of not Ron, I'm sorry, Jeff Dunham's peanuts now. And so she was able to make me a new one. And so, but he's been, again, this particular character's probably been with me the longest, almost 40 years. And then I build a lot of my own puppets. One of my other very strong characters is a little puppy dog that comes out of a bag, and I built him. Probably I'm on like probably my third one, and the first one I built was again probably 30 years ago, and I actually built it and took it to a one-way street festival, and his everything about him, his character, his voice, everything was actually born at one of these festivals, and I he's been a mainstay in my show all these years. I actually met a young man from the Philippines, probably, I guess, 10 years ago or so, and he's a very talented puppet builder. And he's built a couple of them, my main characters. One is an alligator. His name is Tater the Gator. He's a been in my show now for many years. He's a huge mainstay. And that particular character is built again from this young man. He's out of the Philippines. And then I also have a donkey character, Dudley the donkey, that was also built by the same builder. And so it just depends. I get my creativity from different things because I do a lot of library shows and the themes change every year. There's some years that I'll build puppets specifically for those themes, and it just depends on what the theme is. So that's one good thing about being a puppet builder is I can build puppets that I want to fit my theme, and it saves me money in the long run. And plus, it's something I really enjoy doing. I started building puppets probably 25 years ago, maybe more, 30 years ago, and it's something that I just enjoy doing. And when I get some downtime, I'll try to build a bunch of puppets and then take them to different conventions, kids conventions, and sell them. Um, Probably, because goodness, this is probably, I'm going to say 20 years ago, or maybe not, maybe 18 years ago. I built a bunch of puppets for the One Way Street convention that they used to do in Kankakee, Illinois every year, the International Puppet Festival for them. And so I built like 30 puppets, and my wife actually costumed them. She sewed and costumed all of them. And so I took that and sold a bunch of them there. So it's been a big part of it as well. We've enjoyed that, doing that type of thing as well.
You have you haven't shown the puppet voices.
Oh, no, I haven't. Probably the one that I use the most is the orangutan monkey. His is more of a "Hey everybody, how you doing?" kind of a nasal voice. Kind of one of these where he talks like this and he has a nasal voice, sort of like that. My dogs are going crazy right now because they like this voice. And then my alligator puppet is more of a lay down here, talks like this, more of a gruff. My name's Tater the Gator, kind of down like that. And then the puppy dog, he's more of a Elmo sounding. Hello, everybody. He sounds up here. Nine nine, everybody. This is Elmo. But his name's not Elmo. He's a puppy dog, but it kind of has that Elmo kind of style voice. So, but it just depends. I change the voice depending on whatever character I create. But those are the three main ones that I use.
All right, this show was for schools and libraries. So, you have a fish puppet?
Yes, I do have a fish puppet. This particular fish puppet that I have is one that I'm trying to remember. I think it was built by this gal out of Florida. She was selling them. No, she was selling them, and I bought, and it was like $15. And when I got it, it was really cute, but I had to reinforce it, kind of rebuild it because she was actually selling them for children. It's a smaller one, so I kind of reinforced it, rebuilt it, and I ended up using it for a under the sea, a sea kind of theme one year for libraries, and I've just really enjoyed the character. Comes out of a little box, and so that's one that I have used from time to time. And again, I just kind of, whenever I get for different themes and stuff like that, I'll use different puppets.
Could you show them to me?
He is packed away. I don't have him here with me. Sorry.
All right. Well, Gene, is there anything else?
I think we covered pretty much everything, Cameron. Thank you so much for having me on. It was kind of fun to reminisce, talk about all the things I've done. It's been a very long and very satisfying career. I've been able to meet, and really, I've been able to meet pretty much all my best friends that I like to hang out with and travel with and are good friends with. I've been very fortunate, very blessed to meet pretty much some of the best in the business. And so it's really been a great career. And I can hold on for another 10 or 15, maybe even 20 years. Keep going because I really do enjoy it. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
I'm gonna send you a friend request on Facebook.
Okay, buddy. Sounds good.
There you go.
All right, my friend. I see it. All right, Cameron. Thanks for having me on.
Nice. Stay tuned, there will be more guests coming up. Until next time, peace.